gonna get to work today. Taping and mudding and finishing that drywall. 1, 2, 3, ideal.
Yeah, we're just taping and mudding today. Like, we got the first layer on the seams and stuff. We didn't get to touch up the corners, or there's some gaps on the top ceiling part we haven't filled, so we're just gonna do those. We have to use the paper tape instead of the mesh tape this time because of the corners. You can only use that on the corners and the mesh tape on the seams. So we finished the seam parts. We're just doing the corners today. Hopefully we get to start a second layer. If not, we get to jump up on the roof today. Actually, this time the difference between the mud is we didn't add water to it because they were making it too thin last time. So if you make it too thin, it's harder to keep on. But if you leave it thick like this, you can cover the seams and the tape on the first try. Same with the corners and stuff. You make the corners look a lot better. So what I was talking about, this perfect seam I just finished right here, you want to make sure there's no air behind that tape. Make sure it's all wet and mud, because if there's air behind the tape, you'll be able to hear like a little ting, 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 ting. I'll get ready to do this roof seam right here and show you another one. Stuff like this, you're gonna have to fill with a lot more mud to make the tape stick a lot better, but it's okay, we can get it done. There's actually no water in this mud that we added. They obviously use water to make the mud, but last two builds we added water, so it's thinner. But there's no water in this one to make it thicker, to make it easier to.
Is that better for the application, or feel for you guys?
Yes, for the first couple of coats, because you want it thicker, so you can cover the tape on the first go. Kind of looks like the second layer was already put on here, but it's only one layer because how thick the mud was. So if you leave the mud thick like that, it covers more and covers the tape a lot better. But for the third layer and texturing and stuff, we're gonna want to use thinner mud because you don't want to have to sand all this down. So it is better for the application right now as of this time. Go back over it. Might have applied a little too much mud.
I got Junior over here. He's laying down that mud all the way across here. I went ahead and got to this point right here, and this is where I'm just gonna have to stop and wait for my partner to hurry up because he's holding me up just for a little minute here on Monday morning. But he took his Red Bull this morning, so it's gonna hit him in about 10-15 minutes, and then I won't be able to keep up.
These seams look good though that y'all did. It's got a sharp edge, so like, see this row of screws right here? If any one of those screws were popping out, it would stick on it. We use that to see if they're sticking out. Because if they're sticking out, it's gonna be very hard to put a mud over and make it look like there's no nails there. But yeah, you'll see us use this consistently. And if there's drywall stuck on the mud, we'll just scrape it up like this. It's almost like a chisel, but a 6-inch chisel.
He's putting the mud on there just like that. That's real important. You're gonna take this and you'll put it in this seam on the top and the bottom right here. So here, the top and the bottom. Once you do that and you get enough mud under there, then you'll take the tape, you'll bend it in half, you'll put it in this corner, okay? And then You'll press it down until you get all of the mud out, and you'll see when it starts to stick and adhere and make that seam like right there. I got a little bit of a pull, so I'll go back over it the other direction. I'll push with steady pressure right there on the top. You can see that it's adhered all the way down and there's no bubbles in there. That means there's no extra mud in there. And I'll do the same thing to the bottom. And then I know that I have a good seal between the top and the side of this wall. And if I didn't put enough mud back there, you would see bubbles. As soon as it dries, you would see bubbles going like this, almost like this tape was baking. And that's kind of how you can tell the difference between somebody who's done it before and somebody who hasn't, and that's their first time, is you'll see bubbles and waves in their wall. You want this to be as seamless as it possibly can be, no bubbles, no waves, and you have to have enough mud back there for that to make that good adhesion to the wall, and then you can see how smooth that is. Now you won't have any problems for years to come.
When you see it that smooth, there's got to be a feeling of satisfaction when, like, you literally feel
Oh,
how
yeah.
seamless it is.
Oh yeah, because that actually takes time. So the first house, obviously, we struggled with the bubbles. Second house, we got better. By the third house, we know exactly what to expect, what's going to happen in the future, and how to make sure that that doesn't happen on this house. So yeah, there's a lot of satisfaction there because that comes from a lot of hard work for several houses to get to that point.
That experience, what I was really looking for, is because the first house I didn't really mud and tape, so I didn't really know what to make it look like, know how to apply it. The second house kind of got a little bit better, but like Austin said, the third house you really know what to look for. You know what I'm saying? You really know how to make it look and stuff. You know if you don't add too much mud, you won't have to do too much sanding. And you, like Austin said, you got to make sure you get that mud behind the tape. Otherwise, you're gonna hear that little behind it, and it's gonna create a bubble in your drywall. It's gonna be very hard to cover up.
So experience makes a difference.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Look at our third house compared to our first house. It's way better, way better. Knife, you can run it over the screws, make sure there's nothing there. And if you also take your time on these screws, like you won't have screws poking out. You won't have to keep a screwdriver impact. You don't see no impact in here. Cause me and Austin took our time on these nails. I haven't felt nails. My fault. Screws. I haven't felt one screw sticking out so far. So if you just take your time on the little things, it makes the long run a lot easier.
Right. So it's about doing it right the first time.
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to go back over your work, never.
Any more different here with the crazy angles on the inside of the closet?
It's not too much different. To be honest, it's just like these corners up here and these seams. It's just a lot more tighter space, not as much light. Something new for sure. Never drywalled or taped mud in a closet, but it's practically the same thing. Practically the same thing. Like not too much harder.
But it's a good challenge, right? Because as you guys have progressed through the different builds, it's always something new, something different with the Chinese, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's definitely a new experience. Like I said, I've never drywalled or mud in the closet. Just that, and I can't wait for this tile. It's new. It's the little new experience, the little new things you learn. Is what I like. This stuff in this mesh, this is the tape he's putting on. This is the taping, and this is the mud, obviously. Yeah. But after this is our first layer. We have 3 layers to put on, so probably gonna be on this for the next week, to be honest.
3 layers of mud, just 1 layer of tape.
Yeah, one layer of tape, my bad, and then you go over this. We have the 1 layer, and then we're gonna go back over it. Sand it tomorrow. You gotta sand between each layer. You know what I'm saying?
So it's tape, mud, dry, sand.
Yes, tape. Yes, tape, mud, dry, sand, 100%.
And then repeat, right?
Yes, except without the tape.
You put 3 layers of mud on the tape.
On the tape.
On the tape, yes. And then once you start started seeing like doing the swooshes and stuff with not with the mud pans, that's called texturing. I do not like the sitting there doing the tedious stuff. I'd rather just build it up, put it together like the framing and stuff. But yeah, it's almost the most important part of the house, because if you don't have good drywall, you're gonna have lumps in your wall. It's just not gonna. The drywall is what you see most in your house, like the most in your house, and I do not like it. But you gotta take your time and make sure it's precise and right.
Very cool. Is that the big takeaway here today?
Yeah, just make sure stuff is smooth, right. The biggest takeaway is just making sure it's right, done correctly. Get a good layer of mud on there.